Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Testing, testing. Yeah, that's good to go.
West Reserve for this fine Saturday afternoon of NPLW Victoria action. Alamein are back on the park as they're preparing to host Essendon Royals in what promises to be a game between two legitimate contenders in the Senol NPLW Victoria this season. Both teams making decent starts to the campaign. Essendon Royals with a couple of wins from their first 3 games. Alamein, meanwhile, a win and a draw from their first 2, having had their game against Melbourne City last weekend rescheduled for next month. But now back on the pitch, back at home here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, and hoping to pick up what would be quite the scalp against a team who's been up or near the very top of the Senol NPLW Victoria ladder over the past few seasons. My name is Oscar Rutherford, here to talk you through all the action. Alamein back at the venue where they kicked off their season in such impressive fashion, beating the highly fancied Avondale 1-0 thanks to a Savannah Anastasopoulos goal. We'll see if they're able to repeat the feat here this afternoon against the Royals. John Kyrgios has made a couple of changes from the last lineup that he sent out a couple of weeks ago now against Keilor Park, with some big inclusions as well. Janatsu Shidara and Anais Yasevsky have come into the starting 11, which sees Harriet Laurie drop to the bench, whilst the big blow for Alamein is Zoe Houghton's unavailability. Following the observed minute of silence, both teams doing their final pre-match huddles as we prepare to get underway. As mentioned, Alamein with those inclusions of Shidara and Yasevsky. Even in the absence of Zoe Houghton, it's a very positive couple of inclusions for John Kyrgios. For Essendon Royals, meanwhile, they come into this afternoon's game off the back of a 1-0 win against Spring Hills last time out. A hard-fought win at a real tough venue to go. First half goal from Ayano Koizumi, ultimately proving enough for the Royals. And evidently, head coach Jaden von der Hayden is happy with how his team has been performing, and he's named an unchanged 11 for today's game at Dorothy Laver West Reserve. There are a couple of big name inclusions on the bench though. Ava Grober and Anna Pearce-Barlow, both with the prospect of getting into the action this afternoon. Anna Pearce-Barlow back at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, where she played her entire NPLW career up to this point. Had a tough couple of years battling injuries, but has made the move across to Essendon Royals and certainly hoping to make an impact starting at the venue where she has played so often. Our referee Jasmine Stager making sure all is in readiness. And with the referee's whistle, we are now underway. Alamein kicking off. They'll be heading from left to right on your screens in this first 45. And hoping to spend some time in possession in the early minutes against this Essendon Royals team. Of course, the team who are adapting to a new coach, a new playing style. Jaden von der Hayden, someone involved in the Royal setup for a couple of years and now getting his crack as senior women's head coach. Early chance for Anna Leakopoulos from a long way out. Anna Leakopoulos, what a start! First look at goal for the afternoon. Anna Leakopoulos with a ping from long range. And the hosts lead. Well, how about that for a way to kick off this afternoon? Anna Leakopoulos, a fairly speculative attempt. And catching out goalkeeper Zara Board to give Alamein an early 1-goal lead. Perfect beginning to the day for John Kyrgios and his team. Chance to run through the two starting 11s for both teams as the Royals spend their first little spell of possession, looking to maybe make some trouble for Olivia Cowan in the Alamein goal. Cowan in between the sticks for the hosts again, and ahead of her, number 2 is Estelle Burgess, number 3 Chinatsu Shidara, 4 is Anna Leakopoulos, who scored that early goal. Number 5, Jess Shilton. Number 6 is Dakota Tyson. 7, Savannah Anastasopoulos. Number 8 is Neve Dustin. 9, Summer Lasky. 10, Emma Runnels. And number 17 is Anais Yasevsky. Whilst for the Royals, well, pause that thought, is Ayano Koizumi plays the ball through for Emma Langley. The Royals taking a throw in here from the left fullback position. We are hearing that there might be a few audio issues, so hopefully you're hearing the sounds of this afternoon's game coming through. Chance here for the Royals with another long-range attempt. So look at a corner here for the hosts. Sent in towards the far post, beats just about everyone, and indeed behind for a Royals goal kick. So for Jaden von der Hayden, in goals are aboard. Number 2 is Emma Langley. Number 6, Sasha Curry. 7 is Akeisha Sandhu. 8, Bella Sewards. 9 is Kelly McRorty. Number 10, Ayano Koizumi. Number 13, Bronte Peel. 14, Amy Parkinson. 20, Kendra Smith. And 23 is Alessia Bresciano. Alamein looking to pile on the early pressure as Yasevsky moves forward. Leakopoulos again sending the ball towards goal. Koizumi cleverly setting away Kuri through the middle. Doesn't get too far though, the Royals midfielder. Winning the ball back now. Sewards hoping to catch out the Alamein defence, but Chinatsu Shidara well positioned. Shilton's pass misses Leakopoulos. And now Langley for the Royals. Player wearing the armband, having made a really positive impression since joining up with Essendon Royals. Now Koizumi heads goalwards. It's an awkward one for Olivia Cowan. She had to come a long way off her line, but claims strongly, the goalkeeper wearing the cap. Sun poking through some clouds overhead on what is overall a really perfect afternoon for football in Melbourne's eastern suburbs. So this game perhaps finally normalising a little bit after such an electric start with that Analia Kopolis goal. Now the Royals looking to build a little bit of pressure. Attempt at the cross inside, doesn't get very far from Bresciano. Bresciano this time has a couple of players for company, but navigated that effectively. Smith's pass almost cut out by Shidara, but once again the Royals find a way to continue the attack. Bronte Peel though went just a little bit early, so assistant's flag bringing an end to the Royals attack. Mentioned Jasmine Stager, our central referee, assisted by Logan Adams on that far side, as well as Lincho Manyan. Two sideline officials. That's a clever flick on header towards Anastasopoulos by Runnels. Savannah Anastasopoulos, the angle was tight, and it ends up being a fairly straightforward save to send it behind for Zara Board. And so a first look at a corner delivery from that far side. Neve Dustin charged with the responsibility of sending it into the area. Goes towards the near post, headed away by Smith. Captain Bugis with the throw. Shidara looking cross field where she finds Anastasopoulos, Savannah Anastasopoulos, having a crack from just outside the area. Board happy to watch that roll wide of a post though. So Alamein showing an intent to just about shoot on sight. Perhaps feeling there's some vulnerability to be exploited. The goalkeeper trying to handle those long range attempts. Here's Bronte Peel for the Royals. Her pass back. Well, Estelle Bugis was always going to get there first. And again, the direct approach is taken. Lasky wrestling with Parkinson, but deemed to have committed a foul in the process, so the Royals given a bit of a reprieve. Danger at the back once more for Essendon Royals. Lasky denying the clearing ball from Board. Now Dustin is patient with her approach. Alamein work it all the way back to Jess Shilton, one of the centre halves. And wasting no time getting the ball going forward was Kelly McRorty. An early goal for Alamein, particularly valuable when you consider that, as much as they've done well to pick up 4 points from their opening two games, just the one goal across those two matches. So we'll be very happy to be trying to find the back of the net a little bit more regularly this afternoon. John Kyrgios's team isn't a coach renowned for having an especially defensive game style. John Kyrgios, his Burundara team, when they first came up into the top flight, one of the most free scoring outfits in the division. But has certainly shown an ability to develop a defensively sound team as well. Alamein right in the mix for finals for most of last season, just falling away at the end. hoping to take it a step further this campaign. Here is Anastasopoulos, who scored that only goal across the opening 2 games in the win against Avondale here. Now Kendra Smith for Essendon. Parkinson. Ball up. Comfortably headed away. Well, it's Priya Archdeacon there with the header, which, apologies for the late notice, but it looks as if there has been a late change from the originally named starting lineup, with Priya Archdeacon at left full back for Alamein. Here's a chance for Bronte Peel. Combines with Sandhu. Boo just looking to make the tackle, did just enough, and eventually sent clear. So from what I can tell, Dakota Tyson is not on the pitch, so Priya Archdeacon occupying that left fullback role for John Kyrgios's team. Anais Yasevsky using Emma Runnels, who turns away from a couple. Now Koizumi, her sliding pass through, catching Langley flat-footed. So good to see Archdeacon being given a run at that left full-back role. Just 18 years of age, one of the youngsters in the Alamein lineup. Of course, such a prolific youth program here at Alamein. Archdeacon, mind you, did most of her development at Bulleen, where she was prior to joining up here at Dorothy Laver West. Saw the idea from McRorty, trying to leave it for the run in behind. Now Yasevsky for Alamein. Looking to skip past Sandhu, looked centrally instead, but important touch from Koizumi. Now Shidara stepping out of the defence and continuing her run past Sewards. Coming together between Sewards and Shidara, and referee taking a moment to consider her options and ultimately awarding the foul. You'd have to say probably the right decision as well. So a chance for Alamein to send some bodies forward. For Neve Dustin to take the free kick. Deep into the box, you saw the target of Runnels. It was a vital defensive header from Smith. Because otherwise, well, Emma Runnels, such an experienced campaigner, could very well have doubled the Alamein lead. That corner delivery won't be featuring in any highlights packages, as it fails to test goalkeeper or defence. Summer Lasky, one of the recruits for Alamein in the off-season. adding to the long list of American players with college football experience. They did join, having most recently played for Wellington United. Spent a season in New Zealand before joining up with the NPLW Victoria. Runnels inboard to Yosefsky. And Yosefsky combines with Dustin. This is Anastasopoulos taking on Bresciano. Moving on to her right. Anastasopoulos goes herself. That one never likely to beat Zara Board, who indeed claims comfortably. So as things stand, Alamein would be jumping to 7 points from their opening 3 games, putting them in a very good position to contend for final spots early in the campaign. Still a long, long way to go, of course. A team like Alamein, who also made a bright start to last campaign. Tougher for a team like this to compete in the second half of seasons when A-League players return to some of the perhaps better resourced clubs. The likes of Berlin and South Melbourne often with a really strong contingent of A-League personnel returning into their playing squads for the end of the campaign. That's why starts to the season are so important for Alamein, and why a win today would really set them on the right track in 2026. Here's Shadara. Once again, Runnels the intended outlet. Zara Board has been very busy in the opening of this game. That one missed by Lasky. Now Santu, a really valuable recruit for the Royals in the off-season. Such an experienced campaigner with so many successful teams. Most notably at South Melbourne, where she won the Nike Cup last campaign. That ball for Langley is cut out by Archdeacon. And that throw in cleverly shepherded over the line by Chinatsu Shidara. So up to this point, the Royals failing to really get a good look on goal. It's been relatively comfortable for Olivia Cowan. The opening 18 and a half minutes of this one. The Royals certainly haven't seen enough of Kelly McRorty up to this point in the game. Has really hit the ground running in a Royal shirt, McRorty. 3 goals already in her opening 3 games in Senol NPLW Victoria action. See the number 9 here for the Royals chasing hard, but Shidara and Shilton, who formed a really formidable centre-back pairing last campaign, once again looking untroubled. And eventually Alamein worked their way towards the halfway line, where Runnels looks to tee up Archdeacon. Here's a chance for Lasky. Has Jasevsky on the right-hand side, but there wasn't the space to make the pass. Parkinson keeping close tabs on her opponent. The game may be settling down a little bit now, both teams right into the rhythm of the contest. Seeing a really direct approach from Alamein. The Royals are having a little bit of trouble stopping from getting looks at goal. Pass there for Runnels, doesn't pan out as Alamein had hoped. Now Langley for the Royals. Looking inboard to Koizumi, but Runnels tracking back. And a solid run out of defence from Archdeacon, who's stepped up into midfield for the moment. Shidara, long towards Anastasopoulos. It's a decent enough first touch. Once again looking to open up some space on the right. Now Runnels. Exchange with Dustin. Emma Runnels. Once more the shot is on target, but right down the throat of Board. So we saw that first attempt on goal panning out perfectly for Anna-Leakopoulos, but nothing since. Koizumi into the path of Langley. Now McCaraughey. Saw the idea with the back heel. Cut out there by New Zealander Kendra Smith. Now a chance for Sasha Khoury. It's proving really tough for either team to put together meaningful chains of possession. Both teams, when they don't have the ball, are working very hard to close down space and make life uncomfortable. And we will now see the first yellow card of the afternoon, which goes to the scorer of the game's only goal, Anna-Leakopoulos. So a look here for the Royals from set piece. See if this proves to be a more viable route to goal. Referee Stager happy for play to resume. Sent in by Koizumi. Low, flat delivery. Closest to it was Bronte Peel. But all the Royals get for it is an Alamein throw in. So that one not panning out maybe as was the design. Emma Runnels trying to sneak a few extra metres, but referee very much not having it as of yet. Free kick won by Summer Lasky, using her body to good effect. And soon after the Royals had a chance to deliver into the box, Alamein had their own opportunity. That one closer to the goalkeeper, and Board with a really strong overhead take. Seeing some of the ideas with the Royals, not looking to aimlessly send it forward, a maybe less direct approach than we've seen from Alamein. McRorty coming back and helping to assist with the build-up. Here is Koizumi, who struck it first time. That one well off target though and spins away from goal. Is of course always an interesting period for a team when they bring in a new coach, having had one for such an extended time as they did with Vince Battiato. Their NPL profile very much built around one particular coach's ideals, and having someone new in the hot seat able to implement their own vision presents both, of course, some risk and some challenge, but also some great opportunity. Jaden von der Heyden, this is his third season involved with the Royals, having been an assistant to Battiato as well as the inaugural Junior Girls NPL Technical Director, so he is well invested in the Royals program. Will be familiar with a number of the younger players as well and their potential. So not too much of a surprise that we see as young a lineup as we do for the Royals. McRorty hoping to send away Bronte Peel, who's got the legs to get past Bugis. Now Peel sees space on the edge of the box for Sewards. She was really well managed though. And the ball sent clear. Curry charging through, has McRorty. Now Runnels. Turning away from her opponent in Sewards. Now Leokopoulos' pass, trying to release Lasky. Board once again, alert to the danger. And scurries out to claim. This game, of course, one of three taking place this afternoon in NPLW Victoria. Chance here for Curry, just didn't have the legs to beat Cowan or Shilton. It's the goalkeeper who sends it towards the halfway line. Lasky's first touch is a good one, and there's space for Anastasiopoulos on the left flank. As we see so often, cutting in onto the right, but that time the Royals were quick to snuff out the danger. It is a packed weekend of NPLW Victoria action, having seen the three games last night as well. Wins for Box Hill, Burundara and Spring Hills. That throw-in doesn't quite make it all the way to Runnels. Meanwhile, this afternoon, the other three games kicking off simultaneous to this one at Keilor Park Recreation Reserve as Keilor Park take on Avondale, and kicking off in just under half an hour, South Melbourne against Melbourne Victory. Maybe the headline matchup of the weekend before another really tasty fixture to come on Monday night as Melbourne City will host Bulleen. Here's some Lasky for Alamein, closely monitored by Parkinson. Lasky making enough space to get in the cross, but well, Kendra Smith has been heavily involved in the opening half hour of this game. Chance perhaps for the Royals to counter. Bronte Peel It's met by Burgess, who's a little bit worse for wear. Goalkeeper Board has come a long way out of her goal. Estelle Burgess still on the deck, but Alamein continuing to attack through Dustin. Looking to get past Santu, who is well positioned, and now play will stop for the Alamein skipper. Burgess, I think, just incidentally copping a bit of a whack from Kendra Smith doing her defensive work. Does look as if it's something from which she'll recover and be able to continue, but in any case, both teams will take the opportunity to huddle and refresh as they look towards the final 15 minutes of the first 45. Of course, the game so conditioned by that goal in the very first minute from Anna-Leakopoulos. The Royals have certainly found themselves competitive and able to work the ball from one end of the ground to the other, but not really generating the kinds of chances that will particularly worry John Kyrgios or Olivia Cowan, his goalkeeper. The thumbs up comes from the Alamein medical staff for Estelle Burgess. Very much a tough customer and unlikely to be forced out of a game from just a little bit of discomfort. Yeah, just indicating the Alamein captain that she just copped a little bit of a whack to the face. So good to see her back and ready to be invited back on the pitch by our referee. Play restarted as Sandu sends it up to Janatsu Shidara. Alamein have had a little bit more luck in involving the opposition goalkeeper. They too, though, have really just been limited to shots from long range. Just so happens that one of them was struck pretty effectively, looping over Zara Board a long way off her goal in the first minute. Referee just having a little bit of a chat there with Anna-Leakopoulos. Hasn't been the most involved player in general play, the number 4 for Alamein, but in the big moments, we've seen plenty of her. Here's Bronte Peel for Essendon Royals. Space in the middle, McRorty arriving. Wonderfully timed challenge. Looked to be Archdeacon, who really nailed that defensive effort. swapped places with Anna Leakopoulos, the goal scorer, popping up at left fullback now, which is why Archdeacon playing a more advanced role in the middle of the park. Parkinson now uses Bresciano at right full back. Board happy to let the ball run now, hoping for Sandu, but Yosefsky got there first. And here's Yosefsky. Linked up with Alamein from Berlin most recently. Yosefsky, someone who's played under John Kyrgios before. When she was at Burundara. Bujas now winning back the ball for Alamein. Continuing a run into the box and just losing her feet. As the commanding presence of Kendra Smith. Well, I thought she'd shielded it behind for a goal kick, but the decision from the assistant is a corner. You see the consternation from the Essendon Royals defence, but the decision has been made, so Neve Dustin will have an opportunity here to really make the frustration perhaps boil over for the Royals if Alamein were to take advantage of this opportunity. The signal is made. It's a flat delivery as well. Sent clear by Koizumi. Well shielded by McRorty. Often we see it when a striker is deprived of a bit of service, coming deeper and deeper to help with the build-up and get involved in the game. That one over the top had too much on it for any of the Royals attackers. So you wonder at what point Alamein will be happy to just accept the 1-0 advantage. Shidara let that one run. And a little bit of confusion, but in the end, I think the right call made. The ball rolling behind for a corner, so Shidara may be thinking that her goalkeeper was a little bit closer to her than she was. And that presents an opportunity for the Royals now from a corner. Keisha Sandu to deliver. Sent in right on the head of Olivia Cowan. And that was awkward for the Alamein goalkeeper. But in the end, I think it was Kelly McRorty throwing her body to try and get the ball, force the ball really over the line, but wide of the post. It's just about as close as the Royals have come to actually scoring in this first half. Archdeacon's ball for Yosefsky, and Yosefsky has the pace to beat Smith. Oh, you saw the way the ball just picked up speed. You might be able to sense the gust of wind just based on the ring around the pitch. Little banners flying in the direction which suggests, as is the case, that the wind blowing towards the Royals' goal. And it was because of that that it got away from Yosefsky that last opportunity. Here's Anastasopoulos. resuming her battle with Bresciano. Somehow skips past a couple. Now Runnels in space. Picks out Lasky. And the header narrowly wide of the post. That was a really nicely worked move. Anastasopoulos to Runnels. And Runnels with the deft touch. Right idea from Summer Lasky as well. Just a little bit too much width on the attempt, so Zara Ward will restart play. Grateful that her team remained just a goal behind. Curry uses Sandu. And inside to Bronte Peel. Sandu again. Met by Estelle Burgess. Keisha Sandu joining up with the Royals in the off-season, having come over from South Melbourne. He's a former Alamein player as well, Keisha Sandu. If you go far enough back, it's how she first linked up with South after impressing with Alamein here. And then really establishing herself as a stalwart of the competition at Lakeside. Season at Calder as well. Before heading back to South Melbourne Hellas to win the Nike Cup. And now with Essendon Royals. Lisevski's ball met by the head of Bresciano. Gets another crack as the Alamein winger. This is Lasky. Left the ball behind. Parkinson looking to close down the space, but Lasky read it well. Now Archdeacon. Once again, Alamein showing some really nice poise in the final third. Passing the ball around nicely. But in the end, no finishing touch as Zara Board once again sees her goal well defended. So a couple minutes remaining in this first 45. As things stand, the Annalia-Coppolis goal in the first minute separating these two teams. You felt that if either team were to score the second, it's more likely to be the hosts at the moment. They've got themselves another free kick in the opposition half. It's made for some really uncomfortable moments for the Royals, constantly having to defend balls coming into the penalty area from all sorts of angles. This time it's going to be more or less straight on as Neve Dustin heads towards goal. Board nearly overrunning that. You feared that we might see something akin to the first goal with Board too far off her line and the long looping attempt fighting its way into the back of the net, but keeper adjusted very effectively in time. Here's Langley. There's a couple of runners ahead of her in Curry and Bresciano. Eventually goes with the throw. Shidara ahead of Peel. Well, Chinatsu Shidara, she is one of the toughest to beat defenders in the competition. And we've seen in this first half just why. She's been at just about every ball and once again repelling the Royals, but she may well be called back into action in the next couple of seconds as the throw-in taken again, this time to the feet of Peel. It's Jess Shilton winning back possession for Alamein. About to find out how much stoppage time there will be. Seward's out towards Keisha Sandu. former South Melbourne teammate. Sandhu taking a tumble as she steps on the ball. Wasn't the worst result for the Royals as they did win the ball back quickly. And once again, this time with Parkinson from a long way out. That one at an awkward height for Cowan, but she smothered it right onto the ground. And with that, her team will be able to take the ball clear from goal. Well, these final few minutes have been some of the best for the Royals in this first half, able to really apply some sustained pressure on the Alamein defence for the first time this afternoon. And they once again have themselves a free kick. John Kyrgios voicing increasing frustration that his team, in his eyes, were being too slow getting the ball upfield. And this is the result. Koizumi and Sandhu with a free kick as the Royals look to equalise very late in this first half. Sandhu's delivery, Cowan with the double fister. Runnels ended up setting it towards her own goal, but over the crossbar and behind for a corner. Once again, the referee just having a little conversation, this time with Jess Shilton. So the Royals continuing to probe. Sandhu again charged with the responsibility of delivering. This one a little bit flatter. Cowan came. It was crucial from Archdeacon. Koizumi back towards goal. Off target. Agonisingly close for the Royals. That's half time too. Well, they left their best till last. And what looked to be Priya Archdeacon, a late inclusion to the lineup, making a vital clearance on the goal line to preserve Alamein's 1-0 lead, which is what they will take into the halftime break. Analia Coppola scoring with the first shot of the game from a long way out, catching the goalkeeper off her line. And that is the goal which continues to separate these two teams as they head towards the sheds. The Royals, though, showing plenty of fight. And no doubt they'll come out with something to prove in the second 45. But at the break, here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, scoreline reads Alamein 1, Essendon Royals 0. Welcome back to Dorothy Laver West Reserve. Second half underway in this round for Senol NPLW Victoria clash. Alamein leading Essendon Royals 1-0 at the break. A goal in the very first minute from Anna Leakopoulos. As things stand, the difference between the two teams. Alamein, probably good value for their lead. They were the more dangerous looking outfit. The Royals, though, did make a strong finish to that first half and very nearly found themselves with an equaliser just before the break. In any case, they have work to do if they are to pull themselves back into this game. Alamein still yet to concede a goal in the league this season. A 1-0 win and a 0-0 draw in their two games that they have played up to this point. Bronte Peel here goes centrally for Isabella Sewards from a long way out. And Olivia Cowan, a moment of panic, but in the end, grateful to see it rolling, or flying rather, wide of her post. So a first look at goal for the second half goes the way of the Royals and Isabella Sewards. Sewards, another one of the recruits coming over from South Melbourne. Kelly McGrawdy making life uncomfortable for the hosts as they look to play out. And we'll just have a little bit of a delay as now both of the balls have rolled a long way behind the goal. The wind remains strong, that gust blowing in the direction of the goal being guarded by Olivia Cowan. So you wonder if that will be a factor as well in this second half. Alamein's fairly direct approach, taking full advantage of that gust in their favour. So it's Kendra Smith with the throw-in. Finds its way into the area. Shot from Koori. Well over the head of the goalkeeper yet again. So a promising start in the opening couple of minutes for the Royals, pinning back their hosts and peppering Olivia Cowan's goal. Here's Shilton for Alamein, uses Burgess. Burgess playing it off her opponent to win her team a throw. These teams were very evenly matched last season. In the two games that they played, it was a win each. Both times the away team getting the better of the day. So when they met here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve in round 17 of last campaign, it was the Royals with a 2-1 win. Wouldn't mind that scoreline at this point of the game. Emma Langley, one of the scorers on that day. Perhaps the Royals captain will be able to lead a comeback charge this afternoon. Gina Shidara has just taken a seat, having copped a little bit of contact from Kelly McGrawdy, and that will result in a yellow card being shown to the Royals' American striker. Dara sending the ball up into the sky. You got a little bit of a look at the effect of the breeze there. Sewards crowded out, and now Runnels releasing Yasevsky. Yasevsky with the cross. Had too much height on it, but Archdeacon will prevent it from rolling out of play. Leakopoulos' cross. Dealt with initially by Sewards and in the end rolling out for a Leakopoulos throw. Here's Sasha Curry for the Royals. Looking towards McRorty, but Shadara knew what she was going to do. Lasky giving chase here. Board's first touch, taking it away from the defender and cleverly picking out Sandhu. Leakopoulos' first touch, coughing up the ball to Langley. Uses the supporting run of Sandhu. Now Langley goes back cross-field and finds McRorty. And McRorty's through ball for Sandhu, who continued her run, is too close to Olivia Cowan. So fair to say the change of ends has resulted in a change of the general direction of play. The Breeze has been pretty strong and consistent since the restart. Just making things a little bit tougher for Alamein at the moment. Shadara. Well met by Bresciano, but Runnels able to continue the attack with Yosefsky. And Ais Yosefsky finds Summer Lasky. And Lasky's ball over the top of everyone. And indeed will find its way all the way out for a throw-in. Leakopoulos and Koizumi there. The clash in the middle. Koizumi, you see, a little bit of pain, but referee happy that it was all ball in the challenge, checking on the welfare of Koizumi, and indeed, play will continue. Clever touch. And McRorty gets the return ball, but it's overhit by Sasha Curry. Curry, one of the young features of the Royal squad. Really made her mark last campaign in the middle of the park. Just 20 years of age, having been involved with Adelaide United's A-League program as well. Saw the idea from Curry. Now Koizumi. Out towards Keisha Sandhu. Sandhu's pass up towards Bronte Peel. Doesn't quite stick to the feet of the winger. Fair to say that whatever Jaden von der Hayden said at half-time has certainly got his team riled up. Here's Peel. Cowan did well to smother the attempt. Well, it's about as much pressure as the Alamein goal has been under all season. These first 10 minutes of the second half. I do wonder, though, if they're able to navigate the storm, whether there might be a way through for Alamein. Here's Lasky. Supporting run made by Anastasopoulos. Bresciano took a risk making the challenge, but it paid off. Savannah Anastasopoulos, had the ball gotten through to her, would have been one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Instead, Alamein will have to settle for a corner. Well, a defensive header with plenty of flair from Kelly McGrawdy. Saw the idea with the first touch from Leakopoulos, but Anastasopoulos losing out to Parkinson. And the offside flag means it wouldn't have counted in any case. The most recent attacking move from Alamein. Taking a look at the live ladder, there's a long way to go in this second half, and as we've seen, the Royals are peppering the Alamein goal. But if the hosts are able to see off their opponents for the 3 points, it would see them jump up to 7 points from their 3 games, level with Melbourne Victory and Spring Hills. Well, with a game in hand to potentially jump as high as second. All teams currently trailing Boroondara with their 4 wins from 4. Here's Ayana Koizumi for the Royals, though. She'll have other ideas if the Royals can turn this one around. Of course, they jump up to 9 points, which would have them level with Box Hill. And just 3 behind the only team to have beaten them so far this season in Boroondara. Last night, the Eagles heading to Geneseo Stadium and picking up a very impressive 4-1 win at Preston. Of course, the headline match of last night, the grand final rematch between Box Hill and Heidelberg, ending comprehensively in Pythagoras' favour. 4-0, the scoreline for the defending champions, thanks to 3 goals in the first half hour. So plenty of really impressive showings early in the season. That's a good ball from Lasky to Runnels, rattling the crossbar. A really nice attacking move. And Emma Runnels coming desperately close to doubling Alamein's lead. It was lovely from Summer Lasky to deliver the ball in. Her work in the final third has been excellent in this second half. But Essendon Royals saved by the frame of the goal. And with that, they'll take the opportunity to make their first substitution of the match. And good to see Ava Grober back involved. And here she is, winning back possession for her team. Now, in her 3rd season with the Essendon Royals, Ava Grober, she's taken the place of Sasha Curry, who we saw running hard in the opening 10-15 minutes of this second half. But an attacking change, Grober a winger, and we see her taking up that role, ready to use her pace to perhaps run in behind the Alamein defence. Here is Archdeacon, who we've seen rotating seamlessly with Leakopoulos, as Alamein drop into a back 4 when the Royals are on the attack. Otherwise, both players very happy to step up into the pitch and into midfield. But for now, it's another free kick, or rather a throw, I should say, for the Royals. Alessia Bresciano takes it. Stepping up was Langley. Sewards over the top towards Peel. Opted against a first-time shot. And Estelle Bugis doing really well to keep her attacking opponent company. Not thrilled with the call to award the throw to the Royals, though. And as we tick past the hour mark, it's the visitors prodding and probing as they look to be the first team to breach the Alamein defence this season. Jess Shilton will have something to say about that as she, well, takes the agricultural approach, sending the ball back from whence it came, no questions asked. Shot on goal from McCrawdy. Wonderful save, Olivia Cowan. Just that snapshot. Cowan had to be on high alert to get down to her right, and she was. Now Langley for the Royals, met by Dustin. Ends up with Sewards, and now Sandu inside. Kelly McCrawdy, this time with the left. Well blocked. Well, Kelly McCrawdy, her influence in the attacking third is growing in this game. Couple of looks at goal in the last minute. She looks to add to a tally of 3 goals already early in the campaign. That was well won back by Bresciano. Dangerous position for the Royals, with Alamein potentially springing a counter. Instead, here's Peel. Looking to get around Burgess. But really cleverly done, Estelle Burgess. Not necessarily the tallest or fastest defender, Estelle Burgess, but she's such a smart player. Uses her body really wisely. As we saw just there, as she shepherded it behind for her goalkeeper. Now a chance for Alamein. Dustin, met by Koizumi. And now a chance for Ava Grover. McCrawdy went early, looked to be offside, and assistant agrees. This is Jasewski. We've seen a bit less of her in this second half as we have most of the Alamein attackers. Here's, of course, more space going forward now for those Alamein wingers, with the ball spending so much time at the opposite end of the pitch. That ball for Bronte Peel misplaced. Now Runnels for Alamein. Has 3 ahead of her. Lasky is one of them. Goes with the cross inside. Here's Dustin. What a save. Zara Board. Once again, Summer Lasky. Brilliant on the right flank. But that time, the goalkeeper. Reflex save to deny Alamein their second. Well, for all the attacking that Essendon Royals have done in this second half, the 2 best chances, you'd have to say, have come to the hosts. Once denied by the woodwork, and that time by an excellent save. Lasky again calling Board into action. hoof flung upfield. I've got to say, with now over 65 minutes played, Alamein will look towards their bench now. And it's the goal scorer Anna Leokopoulos to be withdrawn. And she'll pave way for Jordan Tom's Wedge, an off-season recruit from Ashburton United, so very much local to here in terms of her most recent football, but having developed much of her game up on the Central Coast, including with the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Jordan Tom's Wedge, now 26 years of age and in the middle of the park for Alamein. Here's a first touch out towards the left flank. Anastasiopoulos will latch onto this one. Unable to keep the ball in play though. Liana Koizumi trying to take on about 3 and ended up tripping herself up. It's potentially paved the way for Lasky. Pulls the trigger from a long way out. You saw the idea curling towards that top corner, but not quite getting the geometry right. As we reach the halfway point of this second half. Just had the one goal in the very first minute, but it has been an eminently watchable contest, this one. Two teams throwing everything at the other. And still the Royals persist, this time with Santu, before Neve Dustin sends it high into the afternoon sky. And deemed to be a little bit of a shove there from Tom's Wedge. Here is Akeisha Santu. That one getting picked up by the wind and flying over the goal. Do you start to get the sense that maybe Alamein have weathered the worst of the Royal storm? No doubt the visitors will continue to press for an equalising goal, but that first 10 minutes they were under the cosh, but having gotten away with their lead intact, given themselves a really solid foundation to maybe go on to take the 3 points. Here's Langley for the Royals. Looked out wide, but McCrawdy slipped at the vital moment. Now Dustin. There's space for Anastasiopoulos. Head down and charging towards this ball as it tumbles towards the byline. And indeed, unable to keep it in play. Certainly can't criticise Savannah Anastasiopoulos for lacking effort there. And indeed, it's ended up as a decent result for the hosts in any case, as they have themselves a throw. That one worked out in the end pretty well for Lasky. Now Yosefsky. Cross inside to the far post. Dustin back across goal. Smith had to be there to deny Runnels. Now Lasky forces another diving save from board. And as that ball goes out of play, we will see another Royal substitution. It's the end of the afternoon for Ayano Koizumi. She was working tirelessly in the middle of the park. One of the feel-good stories, Koizumi back at the Royals, having dealt with a turbulent couple of years. And first burst onto the scene in VPLW, but in any case, her contributions for the afternoon have come to an end. And a similarly feel-good story is her replacement with Anna Piers-Barlow, another player with a troubled injury history in the last 2 years, back at NPLW level, back at Dorothy Labour West Reserve, just not in Alamein colours, as she hopes to contribute to the Royals' charge in search of an equaliser. Piers-Barlow taking up a fairly advanced position. Now here presenting for the ball, but not quite on the same page as Kendra Smith, as that one finds its way through to the goalkeeper, Olivia Cowan. The Royals are unable to score in the remaining 20 or so minutes in this game. It would be the first time this season in which they'd failed to trouble the scorers. Ball into the penalty area, skims off the head of Runnels, and the visitors have themselves a corner. Keisha Sandu getting ready to deliver, but referee just taking a moment to have a chat with the players in and around Olivia Cowan. Ball is deep into the box. Two hands on it from Cowan. Piers-Barlow couldn't get a shot away. McRorty now. And the ball deflected just wide. These repeat corners really difficult for Olivia Cowan in the Alamein goal. So often being delivered right onto her head. This one's a little bit flatter. Initially met by Shidara. Sandu might get another attempt to deliver. This time with the left. Deep once again. Runnels got something on it. McRorty's attempt forces another save. And another corner to come. I just saw in the last few seconds just how talented a footballer Sandu is. Really comfortably shifting it onto the left boot for that last second phase delivery. Now returning to her favoured right for this corner. That one, though. Oh, she won't be looking back on it too fondly. Maybe I shouldn't have given her such a big up for her technical skills. In any case, we're into the final 15 of the 90. Still, the goal in the opening minute is separating the two teams. Essendon Royals have been better in this second half with the breeze at their back. But still, you'd say it's Alamein who've looked the closest to scoring. Well, certainly they've come closer to scoring with their couple of attempts. Sarah Board making the best save of the match, as well as having the frame of her goal to thank for denying a second goal for Alamein. Here's Lasky. Cross inside is good again. Smith doing enough to get it out to Yasevsky. And Yasevsky with a flighted attempt. So the Alamein captain Burgess will take this throw in, looking towards Runnels and behind for a goal kick. Looking ahead to next week, both these teams will be back in action again on Saturday afternoon. Alamein once more here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve when they'll welcome Bentley Greens. A match in which Alamein will be very heavily favoured, you'd imagine. Chance here though for Adam Pearce-Barlow. Essendon Royals, meanwhile, will next weekend be on the road again as they head to the Veneto Club to take on Bulleen. A really tasty fixture between two teams who've met on a number of big occasions over the last couple of seasons. The Royals spending most of their early season away from home. It's in fact the only game which they've been the home team that they've lost this season. They've won both their away fixtures up to this point. That's looking less and less likely as the minutes tick by here in Ashburton. Archdeacon manages to find her way past both Grover and Pearce-Barlow. Anastasopoulos, the recipient, but her touch was heavy. Pearce-Barlow and Sewards. Now Langley has been getting in more and more advanced positions through this second half. The pass, though, just a little bit too much on it for Bronte Peel. Bronte Peel, one of the big name recruits for the Royals in the off-season, joining up from Heidelberg. They've certainly used her plenty on that wing this afternoon, the Royals, but Peel hasn't been able to make things click, at least not yet. There is still time, though. Langley, from a long way out, Cowan. You got the sense the ball was swirling a little bit there as she was trying to set herself, and in the end, the goalkeeper doing enough. Alamein would love themselves a second goal right about now to just kill off any realistic prospect the Royals have of getting something from this game. As things stand, though, it's the visitors who are doing the attacking. A return to what we saw at the start of this second half. The Royals pinning back their hosts and knocking on the door. Flick on header from Smith, met by Shilton. Almost into the path of Piers Barlow, that one, who will now pick up the ball. Out to Grover. And Runnels taking no chances as she hoofs it over the halfway line and into touch. And well, with that one, Alamein will make another substitution of their own. Savannah Anastasiopoulos to be withdrawn. A decent afternoon for the Alamein winger. She worked hard as she always does. Not reflected on the score sheet, but big part of the Alamein team, which still leads 1-0. And taking her place is Matilda Laurie. Onto the park and thrown into the centre forward position, more usually used as a defender, Matilda Laurie. Came off the bench late last time out for Alamein as well, and will maybe have an opportunity to be the attacking outlet as Alamein seek to get through these remaining minutes. Here is a first involvement for Laurie. Smith back covering defensively, and now Sewitz picks out Sandhu. Keisha Sandhu moves centrally. McRorty denied though, and now Shidara back to Cowan. Cowan taking a bit of a chance, and McRorty was late in arriving. Yellow card shown to the Essendon Royals forward. And after a little bit of delay, it is confirmed that that is a second yellow for Kelly McRorty. So we're sending off for the Essendon Royals striker, late with the challenge on Olivia Cowan. And what's turned into a bit of a frustrating afternoon for the player leading the line for the visitors. ends in her being dismissed. And Essendon will have to play out the remainder of this game with 10 players. Well, that does change the maths a little bit. It makes the Royals' search for an equalising goal that much more difficult. Not only a player down, but maybe the player most likely to score. Kelly McGrawdy had a couple of really good attempts on goal in this second half. Dustin's cross inside at the head of Lasky, who's remained on the ground afterwards, and feeling her head will just... Well, the referee calling for some medical assistance, but Summer Lasky, having initially remained on the deck, springs to her feet and is happy for play to continue. Well, will that red card just take the impetus away from the Royals? Alamein now with a goal lead and a player advantage. Runnels maybe teeing up Burgess. Just for a second, perhaps thinking about the shot. Comes out to Shilton. Shilton spreads to Dustin. And Summerlasky was offside. You saw there Alamein happy to spend a little bit more time on the ball as they take advantage of their numerical superiority. Just taking more minutes off the clock, but for the Royals, the game plan, well, it can't change at this point. They've just got to throw everything at these final few minutes. That ball will be comfortably seen out for Alamein. We now just have 2 minutes of regulation time left. As things stand, Alamein jumping up to 7 points. It's looking like the likely outcome at this point in time. Possible as well that they'll get there still without having conceded a goal. 3 games played. And similar to last season, Alamein just looking like a very uncomfortable team to play, especially here at Dorothy Labour West. They make life uncomfortable for you. Have a couple of the most intimidating central defenders to go alongside it. Well, as we head towards injury time, can confirm with some scores around the ground. We're at half-time between South Melbourne and Melbourne Victory. And it's South Melbourne who've put the foot down. 3-0 they lead against the young Victory team. So South Melbourne, another one of the favourites heading into this season. Well on their way to picking up 3 points. Whilst the game that kicked off concurrently to this one out at Keilor Park, it's already come to an end, with Avondale picking up their second win of the season, 3-1 away from home. So a much needed result for the Avengers, which will see them jump up to 6 points, and as things stand, level with Essendon Royals. 2 wins and 2 defeats from their opening 4 games. That is unless the Royals can find something in second half stoppage time by way of an equaliser, despite being a player down. Archdeacon, who stepped into the lineup late for Dakota Tyson and has done an excellent job. The offside flag there denying Alamein. We will now see another change. It is the end of the day for Priya Archdeacon. She'll head on over to the bench, certainly in no rush, nor was Savannah Anastasopoulos, but a really solid display from the number 19 for Alamein this afternoon. Has more than played her role in what is looking more and more like being 3 more points. And it's the other twin who's been brought on by John Kyrgios, Harriet Laurie. Starting from the bench this afternoon, having been in the 11 last time out, who will reclaim her position at left fullback as Alamein edge closer and closer towards the 3 points. Cowan's clearing ball will cough up possession to Akeisha Sandhu. In towards Smith. I'm not entirely sure what this latest stoppage is for. Emma Runnels with something of concern, which has led the referee to pause the game. So we'll be restarted with a drop ball, which Akeisha Sandhu will take. Skips past Yosefsky, cross inside, awkward for Cowan, palmed it away from goal, and Harriet Laurie sends it behind for a corner. It's been a much busier second half than the first for Olivia Cowan, but she's getting very close to a clean sheet this afternoon. The Royals committing everything to this one. Zara Board heading into the penalty area too. It's now or never for the Essendon Royals. Akeisha Sandhu to deliver. In comes the ball right into the heart of the box. A mass of players. Shot comes in. Follow-up Bresciano. And the call is a goal kick. Agonisingly close for the visitors. Bronte Peel first, then Alessia Bresciano. But the desperate Alamein defence, well, is that going to be enough for them to secure the 3 points? At the discretion of referee Jasmine Stager, we'll see if play is allowed to continue. It won't be. Alamein make it 2 wins out of 3 to begin their 2026 season. They hold off the Essendon Royals second half barrage, and in the end a goal in the very first minute from Anna Leakopoulos is enough to secure 3 points to the Alamein tally. That makes it 7 points out of a possible 9 to begin their campaign. Still yet to concede a goal as well, and Alamein will no doubt continue to be a really difficult opposition to come up against, particularly here at Dorothy Laver West Reserve, as they proved against the Royals this afternoon. For the visitors, that's 2 wins and 2 defeats from their opening 4. Plenty of positives, plenty of reasons for optimism as they head towards the remainder of the campaign. But in the end, unable to get the job done here at Dorothy Laver against a physical and difficult Alamein outfit. In any case, the Royals will look to rebound next time out as they head to the Veneto Club to take on Berlin. Whilst Alamein, strong start to the season, has good prospects of continuing as they welcome Bentley Green to this venue next weekend. But today, it was Anna-Leakopoulos' goal that made all the difference. 3 more points to the tally for Alamein. Full-time score at Dorothy Labour West Reserve. Alamein 1, Essendon Royals 0.